following show is a paid program.
Hey family, how you doing today? We have Miss Tera Stidum on today. She is CEO of She Dates Savvy, former Dr. Phil producer, Texas Justice, Judge Alex. My God, she walked away from her top daytime talk show, Dr. Phil in LA, and we'll talk to her about that. Something great about her is that at 19, she obtained her associate degree in funeral directing and embalming. Miss Tera Stidum, how you doing, lady?
I'm doing fantastic, Cam. How are you?
Man, I'm so
happy to be here.
excited. I am excited. I say when we first started talking about just She Dates Savvy, I was so intrigued. But just to know, wow, your journey, just as coming out of school, being a producer of all of one of the big ones, Dr. Phil, Texas Justice, Judge Alex, and on and on and on. How do you feel, lady, at this point, just looking at it? This is 2020 now.
Oh my God, it's funny that you say it like that, because when you're working and doing, you don't have a lot of time to stop and say, oh, I did that, or I achieved that. And so now, having been away from those parts of TV for some years, I absolutely pat myself on the back. I absolutely say, not bad for a girl from the north side of Houston. And, you know, you made it. It's truly a mama, I made it moment. So I'm excited to be, to have that as part of my legacy, to truly have that as a part of my legacy. Yeah.
So many people.
That's cool when you put it that way,
I
Kim.
love it. I love it. So many people want to know your start first. Before we get into She Dates Savvy, how did we start from the north side of Houston and go all the way to LA? You know, everybody's saying you gotta leave here to make it. So let's talk about that just a little bit.
Oh, wow. So you brought up something really interesting, which was when I was 19, I went to mortuary school. I really thought that I was going to go into funeral directing and embalming. My brother, he had aspirations of opening a funeral home. And so we're going to do this family thing. And so I went to school. There is a mortuary school here in Houston, for those people who don't know. And I graduated the program. The way it works, though, is you need to do an apprenticeship, right? Once you graduate. And it's a year, and usually it's unpaid. And so I was working and hustling, because I've always been a hustler, right? Like my daddy taught me, if he taught me nothing else, he taught me hustle. And by hustle, I mean hard work. If the front door is closed, you better go through the back door, find a window, get on the roof. Like that's what he taught me. And so I started working in the field. And unfortunately, I found that it was very male dominated. There were a lot of men who, as a young girl, 19 years old, starting that career, I'll just say that wasn't the place that I needed to be. Mm-hmm. And so very quickly on, probably about 6 months in, I did find a woman funeral home director here in Houston who allowed me to work for her. But by then I wanted to do something else. And so I asked, what's always been that thing? Like, what's been in your heart? And I knew I wanted to write. I love storytelling. I love performing, not so much of like being on camera, but again, that's, you know, when God has his own plans for us. But I knew I loved those things. And so I went to the University of Houston and I majored in journalism. And my career pretty much started there. I did the Daily Cougar, which I encourage everyone like to do internships, work in your field. And that really started me on my path. My first TV job was on the Deborah Duncan show when she used to be on Channel 13. And I got that job being persistent, starting off as an intern. And from there, moved from intern to PA to AP, and had my opportunity to walk into the world of syndicated television with a new show, which was Texas Justice. And so that birthed really a 20-year career But I met people on Deborah Duncan that I would later in my career call on for those big moves. When it was time to move to LA, I reached out to my friend Stephanie, who I met on the Deborah Duncan show, and she was working at Dr. Phil. And I was like, I'm ready to come to LA. I think I've outgrown Houston. What do I do? And she told me, she's like, I can get you on either at Tyra or I can get you on here with me. And I was like, I won't come with you because I don't know the people at Tyra. And so that's pretty much how that started. I will say relationships, hustle, hard work. That's how I got here.
I love that. I love the fact that as we've talked along the way throughout hours of just being able to just go through your career, for us sitting back, it's like, wow. You just get up and just leave and go to LA, and then you decide
so crazy.
I know, and you decide to
And I never seen it before, Cam. Like, no one in my family is in the business. Like,
yes.
I hadn't seen it. And I think if my mom were here to tell you, she would probably say, that's my child who marches to the beat of her own drum.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm that girl. Mm-hmm. And it's worked for me. And if anything, I want to inspire other people. Just try. Yeah. Like, just try. Okay, so everybody knows what failure looks like. It means like, okay, it didn't succeed. But when you don't try, you never know what success could look like because you've never given that an opportunity. And so for me, it's really been important to just try. Like, sitting here today because I took a leap of faith and I tried yet again.
Yes.
Yeah, on something completely different. So
absolutely. Let's look at a video of She Dates Savvy.
Are you tired of wasting your time on bad online dates? It's time to start dating savvy. I created my company to help demystify the world of online dating. The fact is, it can be hard, it can be challenging, it can be downright crazy, but I know it can work. And that's what I'm here for. I can coach you to succeed.
I love that. I love that.
Cam, you're gonna make me cry. You know why? Because looking at that video, all I was a girl with a dream and a passion to help people.
Yes.
Like I said, I worked behind the camera for years.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be on TV. I would brief guests for shows and they'd be like, you need to go out there and do it. You need to be, and I'm like, no, that's not my thing. And so, but because I'm smart and I knew, okay, well, if you're going to talk about it, you can't just write it. You need to be on camera. You got to talk to the people. And you can see my shoulders. I was so damn uncomfortable. I'm like, because I didn't want to be on TV. And we did that at my friend Owen's studio. And my husband was there. And there were times where I was like, I'm going to vomit. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But to see 4 years later, again, I'm here doing an interview and I'm just calm and relaxed. Like, that's wow.
True. Wow. Well, after looking at that, let's talk about how She Dates Savvy started and why.
Yeah. So, because, as you said, I was a busy professional woman climbing the ladder, I also had a daughter. And so for me, when I did have time off, I was not at the club. I was not going to things that I was invited to. I was at home either asleep or hanging out with my kid. And so for me, online dating just made sense. It was a convenient way to go in and shop for men. Right? I know everybody shops for their groceries online now, but it really was the same kind of mindset for me. And so when I moved back to Houston, I had gotten out of a relationship and I just wanted to go online and see what Houston looked like. I wanted to see what the guys looked like because it had been many years, right? And I love dating. I love dating. That was my thing. And I think that's why I enjoy what I do. And so I met my husband. I sent a message to a guy. That's right, ladies. I sent a message to a guy because a lot of ladies are like, well, I'm going to put the profile up, but they need to message me. No, ma'am. Be proactive. So I sent a message to him. And within hours, we were having conversation. We had a call the next day. And then our first date days later. And we've been together since. This is the first relationship I've ever been in where we never broke up. Like there was never a cooling off period.
Yes.
And so once I met my husband, I really was like, oh, cool. I'm just going to live my life. Everything will be good. And we're good. But God said, nah, nah. And I had a conversation with a girlfriend who was really excited for me, genuinely excited. And she's like, I don't know what to do, Tara. Like, do I put my pictures up there? Do I do this? And I was like, I'm going to teach you ladies how to do it. And so I thought I was just going to teach a one-time webinar. One time. And my husband is a business development strategist. He helps small business owners. And he was like, nah, I see it much bigger. And I literally told him, like, well, you figure that out, because all I'm going to do is show up. And from my mouth to God's ears, She Date Savvy was born. And to date, especially most recently, I have 3 clients, 3 who've gotten married, met their men online. Wow. One lady who is currently engaged. And I have others. One of my longest running relationship, I want to say they've been together 3 or 4 years. Like the year I started my business, they got together. And so I help ladies through webinars, through coaching, because it's not that they don't want to do it, Cam. It's just that sometimes they don't know what to do. And so the same as you would go and hire a personal trainer when you want to work out and get your muscles right, I'm that girl you call when you say, I want to get my dating life right, Tara. What do I do? So.
Absolutely. I love that. Your parents have been married, 56 years?
56 years. They celebrated last weekend. It's crazy. It's like, what? Yeah. Hashtag Black love for real. Like, I've seen it. I've seen a marriage that can last over 50 years. And I've also seen that marriages go through things. Yes. Like they go through things, they go through cycles. I've seen both of them come into their own, especially my father. And so I remember years ago, a girlfriend of mine worked on a talk show. And because my parents, when they got married, you're talking about 56 years ago. So they did not have a honeymoon 56 years ago. And so the story I remember is that my dad then got in his car and drove his parents back to Louisiana after the wedding, right? Because that's just what it was. And so my parents on their 50th were on the Steve Harvey show. And he celebrated them and gave them a cruise. But one of the things that I wrote in my letter to him was like how much I looked up to their relationship and that I wanted a relationship like theirs where I could laugh and talk. Because if I heard nothing, you hear all the other stuff in relationships. But I remember when I was growing up, I would hear the two of them in there laughing and talking late at night. And I'm like, what the hell? Go to sleep, right? Because I'm trying to be on the phone late at night. Y'all need to go to sleep. And so I wanted that. And now I see that in my relationship with my husband because we cut up. Like it's foolish at times around here, but that's what I wanted because I saw that in of all the things that I took away was like, I just wanted that thing, right? Somebody where I could just laugh about the old times and the silly things and make memories with right there, just in bed together. So yeah.
I love that. There are several questions that came out along the way, and we spoke about those earlier. Yeah. We were talking about one major thing people ask are why are so many successful women still single?
Yeah, and I think there's a ton of reasons why successful women are single. I think the first one is a lot of women are like, I don't want to deal with the BS, right? Yes. So sometimes they have been through some things and they've gotten themselves to a situation where they're like, I just don't want to. And they'd rather not engage. But sometimes that lack of engagement is also driven by fear, right? Like, okay, I put myself out there 20 years ago, and I'm not exaggerating when I say 20 years because I talk to ladies who've been off the dating scene for many, many years. Yes. And now they've just gotten to a point where they're afraid of being hurt. They're afraid of being taken. And so you have that sector of women, right? And then you have a sector of women who have made their careers their goal. Mm-hmm. That's all they want to do. And I've had the conversation with ladies recently about, men are intimidated by us. And I'm like, what does that really mean? What are you showing them? And so the conversation goes from, are you showing up as you, or are you showing up as your degrees, what you've accomplished, what you've achieved? Because I would argue to say that the good guys, they don't want that. They just want a good woman, right? And so sometimes we're not leading with who we are as a person, because let's be real, Cam, if I'm trying to get back into TV, what I got to tell them, where I've been, where I've worked, what I've done, right? They don't care about who I am. And so, because for so many of us, that's how we've gotten our seats at the table. That's all we know to lead with. That's all we know how to lead with. And so when it comes to relationships, though, I always ask ladies to ask yourselves, like, who are you, though? What are those fun things? Like, so outside of your success, who are you? And sometimes they have to stop and think because they don't know, because it's been so much about checking boxes and climbing ladders. And so I think that if they get over the fear, get back out there and truly tap into like who they are, I think that some of these successful ladies would actually find themselves in some meaningful relationships, because there are good guys out there who are looking for good women. And I just believe that.
Definitely. What we'll do, let's do this real quick. Let's take a break and we'll be right back with Tera Stidum.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Ron Carter Cadillac, Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, delivers test drives to your home or office, like the new 2020 XT4 Luxury Collection, only $299 a month, the new 2020 XT5 Premium Luxury Collection, $399 a month, or the first ever 2020 XT6 Premium Luxury Collection, just $499 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down, or purchase and choose 0% APR for 60 months plus $2,000 bonus cash with no payments until March 2021. Visit RonCarterCadillac.com.
I'm attorney Willie Powles. Allow me to express myself with you. If you've been hurt or injured in a car or truck accident, give me a call and we'll get it fixed today.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call attorney Willie Powles.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, we are talking to Tera Stidum, and we're talking about dating in 2020. Miss Tera, we've got plenty of questions that people have sent in. One of the questions is, what are questions you should ask on your first date? What are some of the questions?
This is a great question, because I think a lot of ladies either fail miserably because they go too deep or they fail because they fail to ask the questions. And so I think this is a safe opportunity and a conversation for you to kind of get the background information, right? But ladies, it's not about asking the questions, it's how you ask, right? I want ladies to find out things like, what were your past relationships like, right? But I don't want you to ask it that way. Because when you do, it seems like, well, I don't want to talk about old stuff and I don't. So if we pose it from a standpoint of like, what did you learn in your last relationship? Questions like that, because it takes him off the defensive. right? Because now you're not making it between, he's not having to point the fingers at what his ex did. Because I don't want to hear a man on a date telling me what his last woman did wrong. I want to know, what did you learn, right? Because maybe you learned that you needed to communicate a little bit better, or you needed to be a bit more open, or, spend more time, not work as much. So asking questions like that, as well as asking, like, what is your family background? And Kim, we kind of chatted about this a little bit. This is important because I was telling you, I dated a guy for about 4 years, and it started off as a friendship. And because it started as a friendship, I didn't ask those pertinent questions that I would have asked someone if I was taking them seriously from the beginning. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I found out after we got into our situation was that he didn't believe in marriage. Okay. You just said my parents been married 56 years. And so I believe in marriage, like good, bad, ugly, otherwise. Like, I believe that marriages can work, but he had not seen that. He hadn't seen successful marriages. And so to him, marriages were just a piece of paper, right? Mm-hmm. But if you ask those questions, again, just kind of family background. So like, tell me how you grew up. Who did you grow up? Who raised you? Like, what kind of relationship? These are things, ladies, that'll give you clues. And even for guys, it's not just for women, but these are the things that will give you clues as to who that person is. You and I, again, we chatted a little bit about this. The kid question. The kid question is a big one, especially when we get to certain ages. I met my husband when I was 39, right? So right on the cusp of when they say, like, ain't no babies coming out of there anymore. and at the time, my daughter was 11. And so I was absolutely, because I had been a single mom, I was just trying to make it to the finish line. I was just trying to get her out of high school and live my life. And we're there now, which is so crazy. But having those conversations about children, because at the time he was very content with the mentoring and the work that he does as like, hey, I'm cool, I don't need kids. And then over the years, that conversation did shift, but it shifted in the right direction for both of us. Mm-hmm. But had I not known that, or had we gone into it, and I'll be honest, if first date he would have said he out the gate wanted kids, he probably would not have been the guy that I would have, because at that time I wasn't really like interested in that, mm-hmm. So we made it to that same place. So background, how the last relationship ended, talking that money talk, mm-hmm. Talking that money talk.
Definitely.
What's important to you? Like, even something as simple as, do you pay your tithes? Mm-hmm. Do you pay your tithes? Because if a man tells me he pays his tithes, then I know his money gonna be right, because he's blessed it from the Lord. It's mm-hmm. like, so it's stuff like that gets my attention, is what does he spend his money on? Like, how do you spend your money? Things like that are very important. And it's okay to ask that on the first date, because you need to know if you need to even go on a second date with
mm-hmm.
him.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. I truly agree with that. The other thing is, we want to ask the ladies, like yourself, what do ladies really want men to know? What do you really want
this
men
is good.
know?
And I wrote some notes here because I'm going to read it to y'all. The first thing is, we do not want to be as strong as we've had to be.
Yeah.
I think that so many women, just based on the way relationships have been in the past, mm-hmm. have had to be that strong person. I always laugh and say, like, once I married my husband, I left my Superwoman cape at the dry cleaners.
Right.
Because I didn't want to wear that anymore. I didn't have to wear that. And so for as strong as we always come off, we mm-hmm. don't want to be that way. Right? We do not want to be that way. We want companionship. I think that, again, there are a lot of men out there, and I know we send mixed signals, because, again, we're like, well, I don't need him. Yes, you do. You do. You want it. You need it. Right? We also want partners. We want to walk it out with someone. Right? We want someone to be in our corner and to root for us. I think a lot of times, and I have these conversations with my girlfriends. So when we talk about successful women, I have women who are absolutely successful. But women are, surprisingly, guys, they're not looking for men to take care of them. Not my friends, not my successful girlfriends. They're looking for someone who's going to support them as they continue to climb and do and build.
Wow.
And that's very important because I think a lot of guys may have the misconception that, oh, she just wants somebody to take care of her. No, taking care of a woman, especially the women I know, looks very different. And that's being supportive. That's just kind of asking, hey, how did that meeting go? Like, how did that call go? Or, did you think about maybe doing it like this? It's really, really, and again, I know we put a lot of facades on and we're so strong and all that. We don't want to be that way. We don't want to be that way. We don't want to be. I want to be as less dialed in as possible. This morning I had to ask my husband for the Wi-Fi code because I had it wrong. I got it all completely wrong, but I'm that disengaged with the process of how things run in this house because I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
We had talked earlier, not this time, but before, about submission. And that word in itself, I don't know what happens. It's just
it drives people crazy. It's the one that makes them, it gets them all kind of riled up. And what we talked about though, Cam, is submission is not a bad word. Okay, I'm gonna say that. I am a woman who submits to my husband because I married the right husband. Okay, this is where submission gets tricky, Cam. It's because they know they married Boo Boo the fool, and they like, but if I submit to him, the lights gonna be off. We gonna be living with my mama. Things are gonna be bad. They understand that, and so I think that the struggle for submission for women when they know that they're not in the right thing, that's where the problem comes in. But if you're in a situation where, and I told you, I know who leads him, so I have no problem with following that man. And I think that that's what it boils down to, ladies. You're right to not submit to someone who you know is not going to properly lead you. You're absolutely right. But that also is probably not the relationship you need to be in, period. Right? If you can't trust him and submit, because honestly, that's what a relationship and a marriage is. I'm trusting you with my whole life. I'm trusting you with my everything. And so if you honestly can't say that, then that's not the relationship that you probably need to be in, because it's going to be more difficult for you to submit because you know he's not the right one. But in the perfect and perfect, again, by your standards, whatever is perfect for you, because I told you it's a hot mess over here, but it's perfect for us. It's by whatever your standards are. There's nothing wrong with submitting to the right one. And it works both ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The other thing, too, we were talking about, and this is us as guys, too, is it important for the man to open the door, pull out the chair, open the car door for the ladies?
You better put me in the car. Listen, put me in the car. My husband puts me in the car, and it's a small and slight gesture. But God, it goes a long way, right? It goes a long way of something as simple as him opening up the door. That's regard, right? That's him regarding me as his lady. The same as opening a door for me. And I'm a fast walker. And he gets upset because I walk fast. And so I usually make it to every destination first. And there have been times where I'm like, I'm there and I'm like, the normal thing would be to grab it, but I'm not going to do it because I know he's coming and he's going to open that door.
Right.
And you talked about like so many women are, you hold the door open for them and it's like they get offended. And it's like, no, I just wanted to open the door for you, lady. It's okay. And I think that part of it is the training, right? So we have a teenager, my daughter, and the same for her. So if she gets out walking fast, he's like, baby girl, you need to wait, slow down. Let me open the door for you, right? So he's putting that in her head that she's got to fall back, let a man. And again, this is not just a man in a relationship. This is a man walking in the convenience store.
Right.
This is a man letting him have that role of, I'm going to open the door for you as a gesture. Bless the ones who still have that chivalry, deep down in their hearts to do that. But good Lord, I don't think it takes anything away from our strength, ladies, or our value or what we bring to the table just to allow a man to open the door for us. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it comes back to where women have been single for a long time or have had to do it for a long time. And yes, they were brought up, but it's just like, if I don't open the door, I'm not getting in, you know?
Yeah. But sometimes, and I will say, and I agree, believe me, I'm not sitting over here with some rose tinted glasses on like, well, no, everything is great and every man. No, I know that some men are on some BS. I know women, I get it. But at the same time, I would challenge those women to just fall back one time. Just fall back and see what happens. Like give someone the opportunity, because I think that's where a lot of ladies, that's where the misfiring happens. They never give a guy an opportunity to even show them what they can do or how they can love them or what they can bring to the table, because they're so used to, oh no, last time, blah, 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 when I trusted such and you never give a guy an opportunity to actually show you what he could do for you.
Absolutely. There's several others, but one is, is it okay for a woman to ask a man out? Yes. I ladies, it's 2020. It's 2021. Let's be real. Forget this year. Right.
We're already into a new year. There's nothing wrong with you saying, hey, would you like to grab a bite? You want to go out and have a drink or something like that? What I found from guys, believe it or not, is a lot of guys are clueless when it comes to whether or not a lady is interested in them.
Right.
And so sometimes ladies, when we put it out there and say, hey, would you be interested? It kind of makes their little, oh, well, maybe she do like me, right? And so I don't have a problem with that. When I was online dating, I sent the first message to my husband. I sent the first message to him, and it did not change the fact that he courted me. It didn't change anything. All it did was said, hey, I liked him, and I said something. And so I don't think that there's a problem at all with ladies saying, hey, would you want to grab a drink? Now, if you guys go out and exchange and it's a great little something, you don't hear from him or whatever, okay, maybe then it was what it was. I don't want you calling him up every week asking him out.
Right.
Because hopefully something on that date or exchange either let you know that this was definitely someone you were interested in, or you're like, nah, I found out what I needed to know. Right. Or for him, it piqued his interest enough to say, oh, I would like to go out with her again, you know? But there's nothing wrong with asking him out. No, let's let go of those old school rules that have kept us single and, kept our minds kind of in bondage, because we're like, well, I got to do it this way and this way and this way and this way. There are a lot of our elders who were in relationships just because they had no other options.
Right.
And that's not what we're living these days.
Absolutely. Another one is, who pays for the date? That's a big one.
And I knew you were going to ask me that. So, courtesy wise, if we ask a guy out on a date, right, the book says what you should probably pay for it. But what I will tell you is that most gentlemen, even if you've asked them out, they're not going to let you pay. Right. They are not going to let you pay. So my husband and I, we had our first week of dating, we had like 2 dates, and one of them was like a 2-parter. So first date, we went to dinner. Obviously he paid. Second date, we went for pool, and obviously he paid for that. And then we went to a movie. He paid for us to get into the movie. And then it was time to get snacks. And so I was like, well, damn, this guy just keeps paying for stuff. Let me offer to pay for the dinner. For the, the little snacks.
Right.
And I had come out of a long-term relationship, right, where we were at the point of splitting things back and forth. So that's kind of where my mind was.
Right.
He looked at me just like, he was so offended. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, I got this. I was like, oh, no, it's fine. But for him, it was like, absolutely not, And so there are some men out there who are still very, very, very traditional and who will say, hey, I got this. I will take care of it. And then there are some times where, I don't like the whole splitting on a date. Like, I don't want to do that. That's just kind of like, I go out to dinner with my girlfriends if we're going to split the check. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that. But I also think that those are conversations that you have beforehand. So you're not sitting there, at the table when they bring the check and then everybody looking uncomfortable because you see it over there and you're like, well, is he going to grab it? Am I going to?
Right.
No,
Right.
I don't like that at all.
You don't like that at
So
all.
I think those are quick conversations to have that you can find out, like, who's paying for this? But he definitely, if he's a good one, he's going to take care of it.
Sounds good. Let's do this. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with Miss Tera Stidum.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Ron Carter Cadillac, Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, delivers test drives to your home or office, like the new 2020 XT4 Luxury Collection, only $299 a month. The new 2020 XT5 Premium Luxury Collection, $399 a month. Or the first ever 2020 XT6 Premium Luxury Collection, just $499 a month. All for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase and choose 0% APR for 60 months plus $2,000 bonus cash with no payments until March 2021. Visit RonCarterCadillac.com.
I'm attorney Willie Powles. Allow me to express myself with you. If you've been hurt or injured in a car or truck accident, give me a call and we'll get it fixed today.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call attorney Willie Powles.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, we're back with Miss Tera Stidum. Tera, I have had a great time with you, lady. It is, everybody is receiving this. They love it, love it, love it. Oh my God.
I got to come back, Cam. This was fun.
This is fun. This definitely is. One thing, should women change their last name when they get married? And the two of us talked about this because of a lot of successful women have carried that name through their career. And we spoke about that.
Yeah, so for me, and I think before I got married, it wasn't even something I had thought about. But because I built a 20-year career with TV credits under Roberson, which is my maiden name, it was important for me to keep that name, but not to hold on to that name once I got married. So I kept my maiden name. I made it my middle name. And then I took my husband's name. That was super important for me, right? Because I wanted him to understand that I was with him. Like I said, we were joined together. I knew who was leading me. I did not hyphenate my name. I did not do Roberson, again, it only shows up for TV credit. I will know how long you've known me depending on what last name you call me, right? So if you call me Tera Roberson, okay, bam, you pre-2014. You've been around a long time because you know my full name. And if you call me Tera Stidum, then cool. You are 2016 on and you're current. And I'm okay with that. I do not use Roberson unless it's honestly for a check. Like if it's a TV credit, I do still get residual checks from Dr. Phil, the show. And so that is still under that name. And when we got together, we had that conversation. And I think it's a conversation that couples need to have. Because I think sometimes guys might feel slighted. Like, why don't you want to take my name?
Right.
And so if you have the conversation, my husband's a businessman. And when he knew it was a business move, he was like, I'm cool. I'm with it. Like he had no problem. And he didn't pressure me about it, Cam. It took me a year to change my name. Just because you got to do a lot of stuff to change your information. And so it took me a year. And on our 1-year anniversary, I made the point of having gone down to the Social Security office. And when he came in, I was like, look, I got something for you. And it was because I had changed my name. So, yeah.
But there was another thing we spoke about together about your degree. Let's talk about that. One of your degrees, and talking about the name change, just the name.
Yeah. So I went to journalism school. I started at 1996, something like that, and I graduated in 99, meaning I walked. I had 6 hours of Spanish I needed to complete. I was very blessed and fortunate that my career took off immediately. And so I used to liken it to a basketball player who's being drafted to the NBA. Are you going to finish that last semester of school? Or are you going to go to the NBA? Right. And so I chose to go play ball because I knew I could always go back to school and get those hours. And so as life has progressed, it was very important for me to get that degree. And so I just finished up in August, and they ask you, like, what do you want your degree to say? And I went back and forth because my school name was Roberson. And I said, no, I need all the names. And so I went Tera, Shanita, Roberson, Stidum, because all of those parts of me had completed that degree, right? So as much as Roberson worked really hard all those years ago, Stidum, especially Mr. Stidum, stood strong, took care of kids, did all the things while I was up working. So all of those names deserve to be on that degree. And it's long, but they on there.
I love that. I love that. So many people ask the question, this is probably for just different people, is it really important for someone to say, I love you?
I think
the words, I love you.
I love to hear I love you. I love to hear I love you. I am a person who actively says I love you. I say I love you when I end phone calls with my girlfriends, with my parents, with my siblings. And so I love you is important for me. When we're talking about in a relationship, I think that it does matter. I think that it matters. There are some people, and I won't just say guys or girls, there are some people out there who feel that love is only shown through actions. And I agree that love is a verb, right? So it's got some action behind it, but I like to hear it. One thing that I would encourage people to do as you're going into relationships and new things is to find out what that person's love language is. Because it'll save you a lot of heartache and disappointment down the line, because you'll notice if your love language and their love language are so off, and you don't know it, it would cause problems. It would cause a lot of problems. But once you know that person's love language, my love language is I enjoy physical touch and words of affirmation, meaning I'm going to need you to say you love me, and I'm going to need you to hold me while you sing it, right? Like that's me. My husband, his is acts of service. Like he likes to do things, right? And so he is the guy who takes care of us, right? And so my husband is not the guy who's going to plan this great romantic date every month for us, because he got other stuff to do, right? And so, but his acts of service towards our family is he takes care of us, and he takes care of us very well, right? And so if we didn't have that communication going, But if I'm a girl over here, it's like, well, I need him to take me out and I need this. And if you've not had those conversations, communication is key, Cam. I think so many people get into things and they don't talk about what they need, what they desire, how they want to be loved. That's important. I had that conversation yesterday with a client. Because what I'm finding is a lot of ladies, they want more. They find good guys, but then they're like, oh, but I wish he would do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, did you tell her?
Right.
Well, no, I mean, well, tell him. He probably would oblige. But because men are only used to loving the way that they've loved before, and if they've never loved a woman the way that you desire to be loved, they're going to bring you, as Anita Baker said, that same old love, right? They're going to bring you the same old love that they've been given to the other person. I was in a relationship with a guy who straight up says, I'm going to let you know right now, I am not a flowers, cards, and candy kind of guy. And I said, well, I'm going to let you know right now, I am a flowers, cards, and candy kind of girl. So if we're going to be together, that's what I expect. Guess who became a flowers, cards, and candy kind of guy? He did.
Right.
Because that's what I told him I desired.
Right.
And so I think that if we get to a point that we communicate and say, look, every third Sunday, I'm gonna need to hear you say you love me, however often it is. you don't be afraid to ask for that, because again, everybody didn't grow up the same way.
Right.
You know, I think we all assume that, well, if they love you, they should just say it. Absolutely. Some people don't know. They don't know how to do that. And so I think that making people comfortable enough to have the conversation of like, you know, how do you express your love? Do you say it? You know, talking back to that first date, right? How do you express your love? And you might hear God say, you know, I take care of my family. That's how I express my love. So do you say it? Do you like to say it? I mean, I'll say it. I mean, you know, I don't mind. But then you get to that, like, I really like hearing I love you. Like before I go to bed at night, I want to hear I love you. And that's how you have those grown-up conversations and get what you want out of it both ways. It works both ways for all of us.
I think the thing about it too is that while we're talking about this, most people fear rejection. On
Absolutely.
both sides.
Oh my God, absolutely. I think a lot of ladies, and Kim, you can fill them in on this. If only they knew how afraid men were of rejection.
Yes.
If only y'all knew. They are so terrified of making a move and us saying no, or shooting them down, or looking the other way, or ignoring them. But we think y'all are these macho men, you know, macho men. And it's like, no, they have feelings. They have a heart. And so what happens though is we become paralyzed. We just both kind of sit in our stuff, even though it's like, well, I think he's handsome and he will be kind of blah, blah, blah. Right. And he's looking at you thinking, gosh, she seems like a really nice lady. She's got her stuff together, but I don't know. She might be too this, that, and the other for me. Cause I ain't really seen her smile too much. Cause again, remember, we got this strong facade on. So when I talk about ladies going over and saying, hey, Cam, how are you? We keep running into one another. We need to go out and grab some wine. Like, let's go have a drink or some dinner or something and talk. Yes, I just asked him out. Yes, I'm interested in him, but I didn't say it in a way that would make me, if he's either in a relationship or not interested, it still didn't put it out there so much that you're going to be uncomfortable and be like, oh, damn, she liked me and I don't like her like that. I don't, you know?
Right.
That's...
I think I was listening to one of the ministers, shout out to Pastor Mia Wright, and she said she positioned herself for her husband to see her.
Baby.
So she got, so she was around a group of people at first.
Come on.
And of course he might have not seen her amongst her girlfriends and her family, but she positioned herself to where
talk that talk, Cam.
Talk that see talk. Her, you know, sit out by herself.
Ooh, let me tell you something, and that's so fantastic. I love that, especially coming from Pastor Mia Wright. I love her.
I love her.
Because here's the thing: when I talk to ladies and I say I sent the first message to my husband, they're like, "Oh no, because I want to be like Ruth in the Bible. I want him to find me. I'm a find, I want my Boaz to find me." And so I always stop and I say, I need y'all to go back and read the whole story.
Right.
See, as with anything in life, we stop on the part that we
Right.
want to stop on, right?
Right.
You get what you want out of it, and then you're like, okay, that's the part I want to stop on. But that's not how the whole story goes. The whole story goes, yes, she went down there. Yes, he found favor on her. She went back. She talked to Naomi. Naomi said, you better go back and let him know who you are, meaning positioning herself
Yes.
to be found by him. And so many of us stop at Boaz saw her working and found favor on her. Well, that ain't the whole story. That's not the whole story. And that's where we get so confused. But it's absolutely about positioning ourselves to be found. I still probably would have been on the dating site if I would not have said hi to my husband, because how do I know that he would have found me or seen me?
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Let's
love
talk
that.
about
Yeah.
your webinar. What's upcoming?
Yes, I have a webinar coming up on December 13th. And the webinar truly goes back to what I said 4 years ago when I started this thing. I knew that there were women out there who wanted to date online, but just didn't know how or what to do. And so this is truly a one-on-one. We talk about what your profile should look like, what your picture should look like, because sometimes, ladies, we don't put the right pictures up there. We talk about how to communicate with guys. Because remember, excuse me, there are a lot of ladies who just go online and they don't know how to message. And so I teach them all of those steps in one class.
Absolutely. So how do they get in touch with you? Where do we find you? What do we do?
And I apologize, my allergies have been, so you can find me online at shedatesavvy.com. You can find me on Instagram, SheDatesSavvy, on Facebook, SheDatesSavvy. I'm so sorry. And I am very responsive, even if you're not a client or you're not signed up for something. If you have just a basic dating question, ask me, because I would rather a lady look me up, DM me and say, hey girl, I don't know, should I go out with this guy, and should I do this, or how do I check him out, or I think this might be a scam. I would rather you reach out so I can tell you yay or nay, especially in 2020 where there are a lot of people online now, you know, because outside is closed.
Yes.
And so the whole goal of what I do is to teach women how to date for the current season. You know, there's something called ghosting, and a lot of people don't know what that is. So it's like teaching you what that is so that they can date currently, because so many, we talked about it earlier, have been out of the dating market 10, 20 years now. And things have changed drastically. So the webinar is my way of bringing them up to date, bringing them into current dating times, and then making sure they have the proper tools they need to go out there and succeed.
I appreciate you ladies so much. Thank you, Miss Tera.
Thank you, Cam. This was fantastic.
Exciting. Thank you for everything you do for ladies as well as dating. And thank you for everything you've done for Houston.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Cam.
Talk to you soon. On tomorrow, we will have Sonia Lowe. She will be here at 12:30 to 1:30 Central Standard Time. See you. Bye.